This week is a very special episode, and I know I've said that before, but this time I mean it, and I'm going to mean it in the future again for different reasons. But this time, I have my first repeat guest, and I'm happy to say it's with a good friend of mine, a close friend of mine, Tom, and I'm going to same thing as I did 2 years ago. Tom Stefaniuk.
Yeah, perfect. You're learning. I didn't know I was the first ever repeat guest. I'm honored.
You are the first ever repeat guest.
This is incredible.
The first time that we met was the day before the first time you were on the show.
Yeah.
Which is almost 2 years ago. Just crazy to think that we've now had a friendship for 2 years.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Things happen quick.
Only gotten closer, and you're probably on like my short list of people who I talk to most frequently.
Wow, I made it into the inner circle of Steve Clare.
Yeah, like if I actually had like a speed dial,
Yeah.
you would probably be.
I would get a number on the speed dial.
Is there only 9?
Well, there's only, 0.
Yeah.
9 or 10.
I don't know if you make the speed dial.
But I'm honored to be on for
You
for
could
the
almost,
second time.
You'd like if there was MySpace, you'd probably maybe
Close friend circle.
Yeah, you might be in like.
See, I'm too young for MySpace, so.
That's wild. Oh yeah, I got like 11 years on you. So the last time you were on the show was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Small Screen was how long had you been in New York? So
Yeah.
Small Screen, let me rewind. Small Screen is an influencer marketing management agency. And when Tom and I met 2 years ago when he was first on the show, they had roughly 40 to 50 clients, and they were based out of Winnipeg, Canada. And now,
Yeah, now we have a team here in New York, and we just surpassed 300 clients that we're managing, which is pretty cool. So when we would have spoken, it would have been like spring 2022.
yep.
We started July 2020. So we'd only been around for about a year and a half at that point, which is wild to think about. So now we're coming up on, this will be 4 years this summer. And yeah, lots of progress, gone from 50-ish clients at that time probably to 300. And
That's amazing. How's your retention?
it's good. I mean, you'll always have clients that will move on for different reasons. You're never going to retain 100% of your clients. So we'll have people that have a kid and stop making content altogether. Or we'll have people that take their master's degree and stop making content. Or, sometimes there'll just be clients that it makes sense to mutually part ways. If when we started working with them, they were getting 100,000 views a video, and now they're getting 10, and we can't really help them.
So none of these things that you mentioned are anything that are of fault of Small Screen. It sounds like people are only leaving because of things in their world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely some creators, and it happens very infrequently. Like, we're talking, I could count on my fingers. Creators will say, hey, you guys have done a great job, but maybe not exactly what I'm looking for. And then, there are some crazies that we get every once in a while, but I think that's only happened twice that we worked with a crazy. So let's hope that continues.
Twice you worked with a crazy or one that left? Because I imagine in the creator world, there's a lot of crazies. Not necessarily a crazy being a bad thing, but just...
I'm sure there is. Like, I think just naturally wanting to get into, one, it's a creative field, right? So being creative is literally the complete opposite of being organized. Like, you can't be organized, disciplined, and creative. They're just polar opposites. So you're working with a lot of people that are a little unstable to begin with, just by nature of them being creative, which is great, and that's why they're able to do what they're able to do. But then you're working in a field where you're being creative for the sole purpose of getting an audience in many cases. So I think that attracts a lot of unstable people, a lot of narcissistic people, which we don't work with. We have a pretty tight client screening process where we want to work with cool people doing cool things. And I think if you look at the roster of creators that we're working with, it reflects that the people that we work with aren't the LA fitness models. They're not the vlogger kids that provide nothing other than, hey, look at me in my new Lamborghini that I bought. Those aren't the people that we work with. So we've gotten really lucky where when we start working with someone, 99 times out of 100, super cool, genuine person.
Right, and you work with a lot of people who have a specific niche. Like even, let's talk about van people.
Yeah.
Just like literally.
Great niche.
Yeah.
Great niche. So we actually just signed, it's these twin brother and sister out of Liverpool in England. And they're terrific, super nice.
Was that who you went to go meet with when you went to London?
No, so that was actually a different van creator, funnily enough. There's so many of these van creators. But now we've signed this couple of creators who they go around England and they go around Europe, and they don't even make content of themselves in a van. They make kind of documentaries about other people's alternative living in vans or in a converted semi-truck or in a boat or whatever. So each episode is like a little documentary on someone else living in a cool way. So yeah, that's a great niche. People that review romance novels on TikTok, great niche. Crafts like crochet, pottery, ceramics, watercolors, great niche as well.
And when people hear what you do and they hear that, you know, you represent creators, instinctively they think like Instagram influencers that everybody sees. But these are the people that not everybody sees. These are the people that their specific niche sees.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like our clients range from, I don't know what the small end would be, but certainly we have clients under 100,000 followers, up to 15 million. So it's a big range of creators, right? So there are people
who's at 15 million.
So we have a couple larger TikTokers that are around that level. One of them is Dylan Page, who is he does daily news TikToks, and we've actually been working with him since he had 300,000 followers, I think, and now he's...
And there's a 15 million? What do you think was the catalyst that bumped him to 15 million?
I mean, he makes good videos and he makes really topical stuff, right? It's global events, it's news, it's stuff that's happening that people want to learn about. So if you're making, you know, content that appeals to the entire world and is topical and up to date and, you know, happening right now, I think it's a great way to build an audience, and his videos are really good as well.
So Small Screen was created because you created this as a creator who had done the business. You created your niche, you built it, you got brand deals. So you saw what was in the recipe, and then just built a company on getting deals for other creators. Do you do any education for your creators? Like, he went from 300,000 to 15 million. Are you coaching him through any of that, or with any of your creators? Are you doing any coaching?
Yeah, great question. So one of our taglines, if I was to get on a sales call with you, and if any of our clients are watching, I guarantee you they probably heard this on their sales call as well, is we tell them we want to let creators be creative and we'll handle everything else, right? At the end of the day, they know how to build their audience better than we do, and we know how to monetize it really, really well, right? That being said, we do provide some creative feedback. I think a lot of agencies really make this pitch to their clients that they're going to have some magic wand to triple the size of their audience. So they're going to have these amazing best practices of, oh, once you start using this hashtag, then all of a sudden, you know, your views are going to go through the roof. But in reality, like there's little tweaks, there's little things you could do slightly better, maybe rework the thumbnail, rework the way you're titling this video. The first 30 seconds maybe aren't that engaging, make them more engaging so people don't click off the video right away. There's stuff you can do like that for sure. And we provide feedback on the things like that. But there are some people out there that are really so in tune with the YouTube algorithm that they can turn a channel from, you know, no viewers to 1 million viewers in 6 months. Those
so
people
why isn't that an additional arm of the business?
Well, so for a couple of reasons. The people that can actually do that are so few and far between, and you can't hire them. Like, those people just make their own YouTube channel, or they go work for Mr. Beast for a couple $1 million a year.
Right. I mean, Adrian Vasquez is a perfect example of that, where he basically, through Ryan Serhant's page, figured out the secret sauce and then grew his page from 0 to 500,000 like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And it's, you know, most of what you're going to be able to do with your audience, you don't need a magic trick for, right? It's just make good content that engages with what your audience wants to see and engages with what you feel passionate about. So as long as you're doing that, we can give you some tips around the edges. You know, we definitely do provide, you know, best practices and guidance, and we'll let you know, hey, if you're doing this, we think it would be a lot better. Or brainstorm creative sessions. We have a fashion TikToker here in New York who you've actually met at your latest event.
Oh,
Taylor
I love
Reed.
him.
Yeah. Great guy.
I follow him. He's great. First off, love his energy. I love the story about when he came, you know, his dad's a legend. His dad came to New York that weekend to run the New York City Marathon. And just the content that he made around, like, helping his dad prep for the race really hit a chord for me. While at the same time, that has nothing to do with his content. He's a fashion creator.
Yep.
So seeing, like, his vulnerable side, as well as like him just being real and not just like showing his fit of the day, was awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, he moved to New York semi-recently, I think in September, give or take. And I know him and his direct manager have been trying to strategize ways of him to incorporate the city a little bit more. So yesterday I gave him a call, had a great idea, and I was like, hey, Taylor, he has all these brands that want to work with him, like, Abercrombie, American Eagle, Levi's, Nike, like brands that have stores, big flagship stores.
Yeah, not for nothing. He looks like he would have, if this was like 2001, been standing shirtless in front of Abercrombie.
Absolutely.
Greeting people walking in.
Absolutely. And I said to him, I was like, you know what, right now they're just sending you the clothes. What if you did, there's all these videos that people love of Caleb Simpson, hey, can I go tour your apartment, right? Or, hey, what do you do for a living? So I said, Taylor, what if you walk up to someone and say, hey, can I style you a new outfit? And then you go to whatever store is sponsoring that video. And so we definitely help with that type of stuff, right? Of helping them come up with creative ways.
Oh, love that. But like not doing that to like get the sponsor, but like the video is already sponsored by Abercrombie.
Yep.
So like, hey, Abercrombie, we're going to be here between 2 to 3 o'clock, yada, yada, yada.
Exactly. And there's these brands that want to work with them already and already are. And it's the next evolution of taking it from trying on the clothes in your apartment to getting out there and doing something a little bit more, more potential for virality, right?
Right, and especially in a world of creatives and creators and influencers that gets more and more saturated, it's hard to find what's new. And it's hard to, kind of do something different because you're saying like, oh, like this guy did this guy did that. Yeah, like no sense in reinventing the wheel, but it's really hard to find like your niche with like this man on the street type of content.
That's for sure. We had, this is another thing, like some of the creative feedback we help creators with. One of our creators, they don't do man on the street content. That's not their thing, right? About a year ago, they made one interview video, blew up, hundreds of thousands of views, really, really good for them. So fast forward present day, 9 months after their first one that they did, they decided to do another one. This one kind of flops. So then they asked their manager, hey, what are your thoughts? Why did this one do so well? Why did this one flop? And like you said, there's so many people doing it now that it's really hard to differentiate yourself. Like 2 years ago, it was kind of a, interesting idea that it was starting to reach the mainstream of content.
2 years ago, you walk into Washington Square Park and literally you look left, you look right. Everywhere is like some creator going up to somebody trying to ask them a question.
Maybe not 2 years ago. Now, for sure.
Dude, this was 2 years ago because this is when we met.
Has it been that long already? Maybe it has.
When we met, I had gone to Union Square because I was like, all right, I'm not going to Washington Square Park. I'm too old for Washington Square Park to be going and ask people questions. So I went to Union Square, which did not bode well. It was a much different similar demographic to Washington Square, but like more, if you could imagine, more gritty. I think my crowd was more of a Madison Square Park crowd. But yeah, 2 years ago, people were doing it a lot. And if you're saying like no now, then the gasoline has only been poured on even more.
Yeah, and you need a really good idea to stand out in interviewing people these days because everyone is. You go to some plaza, you go to some busy bar street, bring a microphone, and ask people questions. Thousands of people doing it. So, not to say it can't be done, but the people that are having success have their own unique angle on it.
Right, and they're not able to, but they already have been building on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure if I came up with the perfect, unique idea of how to do interview content and started today, it's not like you can't make an audience. You hear that so much of this content niche is oversaturated. Oh, I can't make lifestyle girl content because that's what everyone does. Or I can't make men's fashion content because there's too many people doing it already. There's always going to be room for a new person to come up in a niche, right?
I guess.
For you, absolutely there is. Because there's always going to be people interested in that. And name one creator that you were watching 8 years ago religiously that you're still watching religiously. Probably not too many, right?
Tom Stefaniuk.
You were not watching my videos 8 years ago,
I wasn't, but I have.
You're a filthy liar.
I have, going back to your old videos, like, I'm going to say, like, they make me laugh. I'm like, that's Tom?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
But I mean, people's tastes grow. People get tired of old creators, want to find new creators. Like any niche you can find. The people that were the biggest 10 years ago in it are not the biggest. The people that were the biggest 5 years ago are probably not the biggest either.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who I was following 8 years ago. Nothing's coming.
Like probably
to mind.
Casey Neistat, and he's still
Ish.
huge,
Not
but-
really. I didn't know who Casey was until like 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you were late to the party.
I wasn't a creator.
Fair.
I like.
But
know
you
what I'm
were
saying?
living in New York, and I feel like he was kind of a New York sensation.
Sure, if you're a creator, like, dude, I meet people who don't know who Ryan Serhant is.
Yeah, fair.
Like, and obviously me just.
And he's been on national television for years and years and years.
Yes, like
Yeah.
I went to pitch a $20 million townhouse with Ryan, and the owner comes in, and is like, and we're introducing ourselves to the owner's wife. I guess might call her the owner also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm Steve Clare, and he's like, I'm Ryan Serhant. It's my company. She goes, and she goes,
Well, that's
"Oh."
cute.
She goes, oh, that's so great. Congratulations. Just like this like old Jewish woman, just like, oh, mazel tov, I'm creating a company. And it was
Well-
in that moment, I was like, that was awesome.
To be fair, you said it was a $20 million townhouse.
Yeah.
So maybe Ryan's not quite on their level yet. Maybe it is a cute little real estate brokerage to them.
Sure. But she also, like, I think it's Ryan Serhant. He's been on television for the last, at that point, 10 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, you'd be surprised how not famous most famous people are. Like most famous people.
And how, exactly. So, like, there's a lot of people, especially now being, like, award season.
Yeah.
Award season, me going to the Super Bowl, and, like, seeing certain, like, celebrities that, like, someone says, oh, that's blah, blah, blah. And I,
No
like,
clue.
look them up. Fucking 15 million followers.
Yeah.
30 million. I'm like, 30 million followers. I don't know who that is. But it's, like, a 23-year-old musician who I'm sure everybody in that age range and a little younger, a little older knows who they are all around the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, except for the A-list celebrities, like most people do not know who these people are. I was walking down the street a couple of weeks ago, walked past Raymond Felton. And to me, this is like the greatest thing ever. If there's one type of celebrity that gets me going, it's niche NBA players from 10 to 15 years ago.
Oh, it's so good.
And I'm like, holy shit, it's Raymond Felton.
Was he thick?
He's a beefy guy.
He was thick when he was fit.
Yeah, he's a beefy guy. But he's just like some regular looking 5'11" guy, right?
Yeah.
So I guarantee you 99 out of 100 people that walked past Raymond Felton that day.
Just like when
No
you
clue.
saw
Landry Shamet taking pictures
Yeah,
in
Landry
the park.
Shamet randomly walking around Union Square, Washington Square by
No
himself.
one recognizes him,
Except for you.
except for me.
Well, I saw an interview with Jalen Brunson where he was saying how like he loves the New York culture. How like he's walking down the block and someone just like looks at him. He's like, "Yo, good job," and just keeps it moving like two ships in the night.
Yeah.
It's not like starstruck like
It's not a paparazzi.
oh my
scene.
God, Jalen, like, dude, I love, like, New Yorkers are just like, yo, keep up
Yeah.
the good work. And they just keep walking.
Yeah. This summer, me and my buddy were walking down 6th Avenue, like right by the cage there. And Adam Sandler's standing on the sidewalk by himself, talking on his cell phone, just by himself. And I feel like where else is that going to happen? That's not going to happen in LA.
No.
There's going to be 100 people snapping pictures. I think that's a very New York thing. And I mean, you've been here 33 years longer than I have.
Yeah.
And everyone's doing something cool in this city, I feel like. And there's famous people, but they just kind of fit in, right? Like everyone walks out onto the same sidewalk. There's no gated communities and there's no Hollywood Hills. Like, what do you live in?
It's funny. So, like, when I moved to Williamsburg, it's to piggyback on what you're saying. When I moved to Williamsburg, in my building was Justin and Haley Bieber. They didn't live in one of the units with a private entrance. They lived on my floor.
Yeah, so you're just seeing them in
They
the elevator.
lived on my floor. Like, so to get to their apartment, we're all using the same elevator banks. And, like, I found that so cool.
Yeah.
And not cool because, like,
They're
oh, it's cool.
socializing with all the pores.
Justin and Haley are on my floor, but just cool that, like they're just humans.
Yeah, for the most part.
Eventually, they moved from there to one with a private entrance. But for, like, a year and a half, they lived in one. without a
Good for
private
them.
entrance.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly. Justin Bieber got pushed into a garbage can by my friends
In Canada?
in Canada.
How young were you?
So
Because you guys are around the same age.
he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
And his dad is from Winnipeg, where I grew up. And he went to an orientation. This was like his baby, like purple sweatshirt, white Supras.
Yeah,
era.
so he's like, what?
17. He would have been like 17.
Oh, I
would
was
have
going
been
to say
15.
like 14.
Between 15 and
Okay.
17, let's say. There's this all-boys Catholic school, pretty hoity-toity, and he goes for an orientation day there. And my friends that are a couple years older were in his orientation cohort, and they pushed him into a garbage can.
And now they're looking back like,
I should have played my cards and been friends with this guy.
all right.
But he was like a global, sensation at
Yeah.
that time already. Everyone knew who he was.
Yeah, he's I mean, look at pop icons of all time. Like, he's seriously, like, the longevity that he's had, the amount of albums. Like, he's going to be on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores.
Do you get the deal with Taylor Swift?
Like what?
Like, her music's not good. It's not bad, but it's like,
Have you ever seen her perform live?
I've never seen her perform live.
Neither have I, but like I've only like thought what you're saying, and then just everybody who's seen her live is like, once you see her live.
Okay, but counterpoint though, 99% of her fans have not seen her live.
True, but they love her music, and not for nothing, her music. I think her music bangs.
I don't get it. It's like, let's say we're lined up at Van Leeuwen, we're gonna go get some ice cream, right? Getting vanilla ice cream is like the last thing you're thinking about, right?
That's you.
No, Taylor Swift is the vanilla ice cream. It's not bad. It's
Yeah,
not good.
yeah, but
it's
she
just
might
like
be
very
like-
unoffensive music.
No, she might be like some like Madagascar vanilla, which is like extra sweet and like delicious, and like I might want to get that.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I get other, like, I see the appeal of why Kanye got so big, of why Michael Jackson got so big, why the Beatles got so big. Like, the music is interesting. And then I listen to Taylor Swift, and I'm like, huh.
I think that her songs bang.
Maybe I'm just not the target audience.
Yeah, they do, but I'm thinking of like a comparison. Like I would go like Katy Perry songs more hit with me, but like Taylor Swift's hit more with like a younger demographic and more of a female demographic. And Taylor Swift has like this cult following because here we go. It's because she's created a market.
Mm-hmm.
She has created a team of Swifties, and like she has created a cult following.
It's insane.
Yeah, but like that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not loving just the music. It's loving her, and like her the same.
And the whole
way.
community around
Yeah,
it.
and if you like look at like like her last like 10 however many years, like she controlled the merch. She controlled like ticket sales, blah blah blah.
re-recorded all of her.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she does things that are smart, like entrepreneurial things that like things that Jay-Z did.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jay-Z, and I'm sure you read Jay-Z's book Decoded.
I haven't read Jay-Z's
You haven't
book.
read Decoded?
No.
So we just found a book that I've read that you didn't.
I guess so.
Are you gonna go read it tonight?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
I really don't like celebrity biographies. They're generally pretty bad.
But this is Jay-Z.
Okay, Steve, to pivot.
Okay.
Have you seen the age-old tweet?
The what?
Of
What?
would you rather have $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?
No.
You've never seen this?
No.
This is like one of the oldest internet memes ever.
No, never.
Would you rather have $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably $500,000.
Yeah, I'd take that as well.
I'd probably take $100,000. Then
Really?
Maybe even less.
What if
Like,
Jay-Z's interested in like buying a pizza restaurant?
Oh, when you put it that way, $500,000 I would take. Less than that, I'd have to think about it.
Okay. So Jay-Z's book.
Yes. Oh, Jay-Z's book. It talks about like literally his entire life and why I compare it to Taylor Swift. Because like back in the day,
They were both selling cocaine?
after the cocaine, they were drinking Cristal.
Okay.
And the rappers were shouting out Cristal, and like Cristal wasn't hooking them up at all.
Mm-hmm.
Cristal was like, all right, yeah, keep drinking our champagne. We don't want to give you a cut of anything. We don't want to pay you
Mm-hmm.
to talk about our. Meanwhile, Cristal purchasing
Through the roof.
up like 200x,
Mm-hmm.
like insane. Like fuck that. We're not drinking Cristal anymore. We're gonna create our own champagne. Ace of Spades.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Do you know that's the majority of his net worth now?
What, Ace of Spades?
Yeah.
Love that.
So whenever he hit $1 billion, I saw a breakdown of his net worth, and you think, okay, he's a rapper, he owns a record label. That's got to be the bulk of it. No, it was like $680 million of the $1 billion was the champagne.
And it all started because Cristal wouldn't give them a cut of money coming in.
Interesting. I didn't know that story.
Yep, exactly. And then you have like I think it was Iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Iceberg, Coogee, some like brands from back in like the 90s.
A bit before
Anyways,
my time, but
all right. So Iceberg was a streetwear brand back in the 90s, and they also were not being friendly to these rappers who were wearing their gear and shouting it out. So let's make our own gear. Rockaware. Rockefeller Records. Hey, Rockaware. Boom.
yeah, that's not around anymore. I don't think.
Rockaware?
Yeah.
Not at all.
I mean, maybe you could like go up to 125th and find it somewhere, but
Maybe. I actually found a bag of hand-me-down clothing in my closet yesterday, and there was a Rockaware zip down. That's a size 2T.
okay. So Seymour.
Yes, for Seymour. So like, I showed it to Jules, and like, this makes me so happy, because now Seymour's gonna have a Rockaware tee.
I love that. I love that. I remember for us when I was probably in middle school, that's when Echo Unlimited started hitting all the outlet malls and became like a white suburban brand.
Yeah.
So me going to a white private Christian school, all these kids are wearing Echo Unlimited t-shirts.
I could see you in an Echo shirt.
I never made it. I wasn't cool enough.
No?
I think the hallmark of cool when I was in middle school was DC skate shoes and Echo Unlimited.
I'm trying to think, what store would that be in?
West 49, probably.
No, is that a Canada thing?
Yeah, it was a skate shop in Canada, but not like an independent skate shop, but like what would be like a Zoomies here.
Yeah, Zoomies. That's
Yeah,
what
like
that's
a
where my head
Zoomies,
goes
yeah.
to. Back to the business.
Yeah,
So you've gone from, let's call it 50 creators to 300 plus in less than 2 years.
yeah. When you put it like that, it sounds pretty good.
It sounds really good. I mean, if I told you now that you're gonna 6x your business in 2 years from now, well, that would be a lot.
Might have a bit of a heart attack.
Yeah, 1,800 creators. You better have a lot of employees.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you're gonna 6x this time.
No. There's like,
I don't even think you would want to. Maybe.
I mean, if we were able
if you
to,
did that, you'd have to get acquired.
just
You'd probably get acquired before that.
maybe, yeah. But I think the one limiting vector to growth at that point would be maintaining the quality of client service, right?
Touche.
Like we could easily sign more clients than we do each month, but we don't because we want to make sure that we have qualified people to manage them, right? We could, last month we signed 18 clients, which is great. We could have signed 30. We could have done more outreach and found more people and got on more calls. But right now our bottleneck, if you can even call it that, is just making sure that if we're signing someone, we have the best, most qualified people to actually get them the deals that they need and the advice that they need and make them the money that they should be making.
I think you got to clone Jason.
Oh yeah, Jason's incredible. Jason's great. All our talent managers are great, to be honest.
There we go.
But
Jason breaks records.
Jason breaks records, so we'll give him that. He does have the single week bookings record in small screen. So Jason's incredible. That week it was really funny. So for context, like a good week for a talent manager, 70, 80 grand of bookings. Pretty solid week, right? Our record for the longest time was 157,000 or 151,000, I think. Longest time was 151. Jason beats it on a Tuesday, gets some giant deal, puts him at 154. And then another talent manager starts creeping up to him. He was at like 144. So you have two people with these absurd weeks in the same week. And Jason was able to just squeak it out, ended up at 161,000 for the week. And then there's this talent manager having what would have been like the third best week in history of the company and doesn't even have the best week in his team.
I love that. That reminds me of when I don't know if you remember when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Oh, the home run battle?
Yeah, home run battle. And like the two of them are having the best home run seasons ever, and they're back to back to back.
Yep.
But like, you know what? Everybody will remember that. Steroids or not.
Yeah.
I welcome the steroids to baseball.
Have you seen this like quasi Olympics or sporting event that Peter Thiel? And,
yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's genius.
I
What's
don't-
wrong with what's wrong with HGH?
Well, so my counterpoint would be that I don't know how impressive it's actually going to be, because all the top end athletes are probably already on it.
Then you'll be surprised how impressive it actually is.
I don't think so, though.
Hopefully.
Because so let's take a look at like Usain Bolt, for instance, right? Fastest man in the world. He's number one, fastest 100-meter time ever. Do you know what 2 through 10 of the fastest men have in common?
Like .01 behind him.
They're not too far behind him, but the thing that they all have in common, 2 through 10, is that they've all been caught doping.
Got it.
Sounds very unlikely that Usain Bolt is the only guy in this stratosphere of getting sub 10 that is doing it clean, right?
You're saying that like it's highly unlikely?
I think it's highly unlikely, right? Like odds are, it's a business, right?
Yeah, but you have anomalies.
Absolutely.
You have anomalies. You have people who are superhuman. You have the goats.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's got to be the goat.
100%. But it seems like, it's a business. His name is Bolt. How much more perfect could you make that for a sprinter, right? We both know that if LeBron
You're not
James,
wrong.
if LeBron James took a piss test tomorrow and it comes up positive or something, Adam Silver is sweeping that under the rug as quick as humanly possible.
Yes.
And I think the world athletic community would probably do the same if Usain Bolt did that, or Michael Phelps, or
If
whatever
it
the
could
case
make
may
it
be.
to the rug, because I feel like that's something the media would have a frenzy over,
Mm-hmm.
like to be the first one to report that Usain Bolt is
Oh, yeah, it would
doping
be
or LeBron doping.
all over the place. But for this performance enhancing Olympics that Peter Thiel and crew are putting money into, I would be shocked if any actual records were broken, because I think you're not going to attract the best of the best athletes, right? Because as soon as you're in the hey, I'm a doper Olympics, you're not going to be allowed to compete anywhere else. So you're throwing the rest of your career away, right? So you're going to be attracting the third tier athletes probably. And I would also assume that all the first tier athletes are probably taking this stuff. They're just good at hiding it.
I think that this is going to be more impressive than you think.
I mean, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. It'd be super cool to see someone all of a sudden run like a 9.2.
Oh, I'm more optimistic about it, and I firmly hope and believe it's going to be much more entertaining and much more impressive than you think.
Have you seen these new Nike super runners, these marathon shoes?
No, but it sounds like a marketing. Oh, like $1,500?
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
wildly expensive, but what they're doing to running is insane. So
Oh, actually?
yeah, everyone's foot apparently reacts differently to them. I listened to like some 45-minute breakdown of how these shoes work, and it depends on your stride. Some people it actually doesn't help at all, but for the people who it helps, whose like stride is in line with how the shoe operates, it shaves off 10% off of your time.
Jesus.
So if you're running a 2.5 hour marathon, that's 170,
And it's in a
150
and it's
minutes.
in a shoe, so it's legal.
Yeah, 150 minutes. You just took 15 minutes off of your time because you switched your shoes.
And that's where Nike goes from just marketing to athlete enhancer.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So there was this young girl who set the female marathon record, and 18 months ago she wasn't running marathons. She was running 1,500 meters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just that quick. Throws these shoes on and boom.
I love that. Speaking of competitions, what do the next 3 to 6 months look like for small screen?
Yeah, good question. I mean, for us, I think it's really just about repeating, iterating. Like we know how to get clients. We know how to do a good job for those clients. We know how to, train people effectively to be really good at their job. And I think it's just about doing that over and over again, making sure that each time you do it, you're like 0.5% better, right? Like the way we're booking deals for clients right now, it looks relatively similar to how we were booking deals for clients 2 years ago, but it's more tuned, it's more refined, right?
It's elevated.
Exactly.
And the clients that you were booking, if they were booking, let's say 5,000 for this, 5,000 for this booking, that 5,000 for booking. Now 2 years later, that person's probably getting 8,000 or more.
I mean, we're not magicians. we're certainly not magicians.
But essentially, you would assume that they're every 3 to 6, 12 months growing.
Yeah, if they're growing, absolutely. Yeah. If their audience is growing, then of course, yeah, we'll be able to get them more money. But just through our relationships with brands, and I'd say for that person, if we were getting $5,000 for that video, maybe the same video now we're getting 5,700. Just through better relationships, knowing how to negotiate, knowing how to hit those points with the brands to get that little extra bit of dollars out of them, and you get an extra 12.5% out of a brand every single deal you get. It adds up pretty quick for everyone.
I love it. And what I love the most is that how I was, a big part of the catalyst of building the health and fitness sector.
Absolutely, yeah. You have you've lobbed us Megan Hayden, who's she's a personal trainer here in New York and makes some really awesome content, and then Matthew Forzaglia as well, who great guy. Zach, who's part of our team, who you know as well. He seems to be really getting along with them. I think they're going to a Rangers game.
Love it.
Which will be fun. And then, we have another client here in New York, Steve Cole, who does swimming content, actually, former water polo player.
Oh, very cool.
And makes a lot of content about, how to exercise in water and,
So who would be a good partner or sponsor for him?
Well, so we just got him a deal with Speedo, which is pretty fun. That was one of his...
That sounds like the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that was one of his dream brands, and so we reached out to them, and we're able to make that one happen. And I think that's always really cool as well. You'll be so shocked, like regardless of what business you're in, the amount of things a cold email can get you in life. Send more cold emails. That would be...
Say that again?
Send more cold emails.
Send more cold emails. People are always scared to do that.
I know, right? Just go ask people stuff.
Go ask people stuff, but how about the follow-up?
And follow up again and again and again and again and again and again. Don't be rude. Don't be pestering. But I mean, there's this wealth management firm that I was considering working with, and super cool guy, ex-MLB player. His name's Jacob Turner. I played in the MLB for 7 or 8 years, I think, and retired and wanted to help athletes. So his wealth management firm, they exclusively work with entrepreneurs and athletes in helping them manage a very unpredictable income path, right? Because you don't know if your business is going to be around 2 years from now. You don't know if you're going to get that next contract. Had a call with him. Seems like a really, really cool guy and a good service that they're offering. And then I got busy, flew back to Canada, lost my passport, lost my US visa. That's a whole nother story. And then he emailed me twice over that period. And on the second email, he said, "Hey, don't mean to bother you by following up too many times." And I emailed him back and I was like, "You're never going to need to apologize for following up twice, because we follow up like 50 times with people." And it works. We have a client we just signed last month. We've been emailing them about once every week and a half for 9 months.
Amen.
Crickets for 9 months, until they finally got back to us and said, "Hey, so sorry. This actually sounds perfect for me." Get on a call with us, and now we're representing them.
That's something that everybody in most businesses can learn from.
Yeah. Send the Christmas cards, send the emails, talk to random people at a restaurant.
Now, I don't remember what you said 2 years ago, but I'll ask you now, because you've probably read about 90 or more books since we last spoke on the podcast 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. What's one book that you would recommend to anybody?
To anybody? I mean, one just for I wouldn't even say enjoyment's sake, because it's like a really sad book. I'll give you one for that, more just for reading, and then maybe another for personal development. I read this terrific book probably in November. It's called When Breath Becomes Air, and it's written by this young guy, 32-year-old neurosurgeon in his last year of residency. He's been in school for 12 years, becoming a neurosurgeon, and he gets diagnosed with terminal cancer, has a year and a half to live. And it's he wrote this. The first chapter is a retrospective of hey, if you're reading this, it's because I've passed away. And it's the last year and a half of his life of figuring out, how do you find meaning? It's very similar to Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, I felt, of how do you find meaning when you're staring at the abyss, and does he want to finish school and become a surgeon, or does he just want to spend the rest of the time with his newborn child and wife? So he ends up passing away. His wife writes the last chapter of the book. So that was a tearjerker for sure. But I'd recommend everyone reads that one. It was really terrific. And then if we wanted to go on a maybe more happy, cheery note of practical learning, I think anything by Nassim Taleb, honestly. He's one of my favorite thinkers. He's a bit of an ass as well, which I appreciate. But he has a series of 5 books, Black Swan, Fooled by Randomness, Anti-Fragile, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of already. Pick up any one of those. You can read them in any order. It's just about how to think asymmetrically, how to find things with outsized payouts compared to the amount of risk you're taking on, how to zig when everyone else is zagging. And I think it's a really valuable way to learn different thinking models, I would say. So anything by Nassim Taleb.
Amen. And now you know what I'm going to ask you next.
Yeah. What are one word of advice? Two words of advice?
Give me one word of advice for anyone trying to make it.
Persistence, I would say. I think life's not rocket science at the end of the day. And what I've seen in my anecdotal life experience is that all my friends who are doing the best, and whether that be financially or just purpose-wise, fulfillment-wise, because I think sometimes we anchor too much on success being financial success and making it being having a lot of zeros in your bank account. But if we go making it purely just on you're fulfilled with what you're doing and you're having a great time, that can obviously result in financial success. But how persistent are you? I look at all of my friends. You could even say obsessive, not persistent, but all of my friends that are doing something cool, all of my friends that have a business or have something they're incredible at, they're obsessed. It's all they do every day. It's all they think about every day. And I'd say that's my one word of advice.
Tom Stefaniuk, small screen.
Appreciate you having me on for a second time.
Let's see in 2 years from now if he's going to 6X.
Hopefully. I'd take it.
Later.